action. Okay. All right, we're going to be looking at participles. Participles.
Can you say the name of the chapter so I can know?
Lesson 19. Lesson 19, participles. Okay, participles are going to freak you out just a little bit, and then they'll be fine, okay? Because now we're adding a new verbal. Up to this point, we've been dealing with finite verbs, okay? That's all we've been dealing with is finite verbs. Now we're going to be getting into non-finite verbs, and this one's going to be the participle, okay? A participle. Well, okay, before we do that, let's go over our vocabulary. Make sure we got enough time. Let's go over our vocabulary, okay? Agapao. Okay, agapao. Okay. Pistuo.
Pistuo.
Wait, say that one again?
Pistuo.
Pistuo.
Okay. And then zao.
Zao.
Okay. Gay.
Gay.
Okay. Ergon.
Ergon.
Okay. And then hemera.
Again?
Okay. Huh?
Can you say that one again?
Hemera.
Hemera.
Hemera. Okay. And then mathetes.
Mathetes.
Mathetes. Okay. And then hamartia.
Hamartia.
Hamartia. Sin.
Is it ha? Like ha?
Ha. Hamartia. I know it's a that rough breathing mark is real, well, smooth breathing mark too, but it's hard to differentiate because it's so small, you know. But that's why whenever I do the quizzes, I blow them up a little bit bigger, you know, so that it's a little easier to see. Okay, and then basilia, kingdom. Okay.
Does that go with the English word Bastillion?
Bastilian.
Or because maybe it's French. Never mind.
Bastille is.
Yeah, is that French?
Yeah.
The Bastille.
Basilica.
The Bastille.
Yeah.
Bastille.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
a
I don't.
fortress, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, Bastille. I think it's fortress, or you know, Bastille was a basically a prison fortress type thing, you know. But so no, I don't think they're related. I mean, they might be. I'm not going to say that they're not. I'm just going to say I don't think they are.
Okay.
Okay, kakos. Okay, and that is bad or evil. All right.
Is
So-
that from the Hebrew kaka? Sorry about
The Hebrew,
Go
yeah.
crow 3 times.
Caca is what you say when you change the diaper, you know? Caca. That's what I always said anyway. Okay, participle. A participle in Greek is a verbal adjective. Okay, does everybody remember from your English grammar, verbal adjectives? That is, it is a word which may be used as either a verb or an adjective, although both of these aspects of the participle may be found in a given context or usage. As a result, a participle must agree with the nouns they may modify in case, number, and gender, and they still have the nature of a verb. Thus, the 7 properties of a principle or participle are tense, mood. Mood is always participle. Okay, it's always participle. That's the mood is participle. Okay, so tense, mood, which is always participle. It has voice. It has case, number, and gender in dictionary form.
Not person?
No. Okay, so what you're doing is you're essentially taking verb, you know, the aspects of a verb and the aspects of a noun, and bring them together, right? Okay. The participle is found only in the present, aorist, future, and perfect tenses. Okay.
Wait, what?
The participle is only found in present, aorist, future, and perfect.
So if it doesn't have a present, aorist, future, or perfect setup of the verb parsing, it won't be a participle.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And the verb at the next one has to be the same.
Right. Okay. All right, since the participle is a supporting verbal, translations are postponed until lesson 22 when they will be placed in a context. Okay, and we'll talk more about that when we get to it. Okay, participle of I mean. Basic to the preparation of learning the forms of any participle is knowledge of the present participle of I mean. The forms of this participle afford the student three very important sets of data. Okay? The present participle of I mean. That's the first one. And if you look down at your chart there, you see the chart that's right below that? Those are your present participles of I mean.
They don't look anything like that, I mean.
Right, they don't, but those are the participle forms of I mean.
So when it's being used as an adjective verb,
Okay, let me just tell you what these mean. Okay, look at the nominative masculine, you see there?
Yeah.
Okay, where it's home. Okay, or own rather. Okay, that just means
That's own or own?
Own.
it's own.
Okay.
Okay, that just means being. That's all it means, just being. Okay. All right. And then the genitive would be of being, and then the dative would be in being, in by or to being, and then accusative would be being. Okay? Okay, so the active endings, number 2 at the top there, at the top of page 72, the active endings for all participles, the whole of these forms is used in this way, although sometimes it is modified according to stated rules. Okay, so the active endings for all participles. So you see that here? This will be the active for all participles. Okay, if you just want to take a real quick look over to page 80, you'll see the middle voice and passive voice. And you'll find that the endings on these they use the first or second declensions. Okay? So for your active participles, they always use the I mean. Okay, we'll see that, you'll see that here in just a moment, okay? The basic forms of the third declension noun endings, okay? All right. Hence, these forms must be mastered exactly in their entirety. Okay, there's your chart, and you'll notice you have it. You have your 5 cases, or you can call it your 6 cases, right? Nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative. 5 cases rather. And then you have your singulars and your plurals, and you have masculine, feminines, and neuters for each one. See how it's laid out there? Okay.
And you said 5?
Yeah.
We don't have vocative.
1, 2, 3. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I was thinking vocative. Yeah, vocative is 5. That would be the 5th one. But you don't have a vocative and a participle. That's the reason why that's
That's
not
all,
there.
sorry.
I was meaning, I don't know what I was meaning. Okay, so those are your IMEs, your IME participles. All right. It should be noted, the feminine follows the endings of the first declension. Okay, you see it there? Look at your feminines. You notice that these endings are exactly the same endings as what you find on your feminine chart. If you go to page 58, you'll see that it follows the same endings. See on there? All right, so just keep that in mind. Number 2, back on page 72. Number 2, note 2, the masculine and neuter singulars and plurals are alike in the genitive through the dative cases. So he's just laying out patterns so that you can see the patterns and see how they relate to each other. And then number 3, the basic stem of the participle of IME is found in the genitive singular. Okay? So in other words, the genitive singular, if you look there, which is ontos, okay, that is your basic stem. Okay, your basic stem. So it's kind of like your dictionary form. So if you're looking that up, that's what you would look up as the ontos, which is your genitive. Genitive singular. Okay, so what you do there is that for that lesson, that entire lesson, it's all about memorizing that chart. Okay, that's what it's all about, is memorizing that chart. Okay, on your assignment at the top of page 73, learn the vocabulary and master the forms of the present participle of I, me. That's your chart there. Be sure to take time to review previous vocabularies. Learn the principal parts of akuo. Okay, I have not been diligent on telling you guys about these principal parts, but I'm going to start hitting you on these. And so your quizzes are going to include whatever the principal part is on
Whatever's
the,
printed in the book.
whatever you have here, okay? The reason why I'm doing that is because you need to be familiar with those principal parts. I'm not requiring that you memorize them all the time, but I do want you to be familiar with these things because you're going to run into these principal parts and you're translating and you need to be able to say, oh wow, that's a principal part. And then you can go to your book, right? Then you can go to your book and find out exactly what principal part it is. Okay? You know, for instance, akuo. Let's just look at it real quick. If you go to page
155.
page 155, right? You find akuo there. Okay? If you just work your way right across, you'll see all of the different forms that are principal parts. Okay? Akuso, which is your future. Okay? That's exactly what you would expect. Okay, akuso. You got your sigma without your first augment, so that tells you that it's a future. Okay, and then you got akusa, which that's what we would expect in the aorist. But then look at your perfect active. Akusa, so it's akekua, right? So that's a little weird, right? And then you get into your aorist passive, which is weirder yet. Okay, don't try to make these work like trying to parse it like we do here. Don't try to do that because that's not the way principal parts work. Principal parts are irregular verbs and they just have to be learned. They just have to be learned how they are. We have irregular verbs too and you just have to learn them. But I'm not going to be a stickler about it. But if you at least go through and learn these as you go and follow the assignments, you'll at least have seen them. Okay? When I took Greek, we actually had to reproduce that entire chart, every principal part in here. We had to reproduce
The
those.
gaps in this, because it doesn't exist in that.
Yeah, right. If there's no, like under the perfect middle, it doesn't have a principal part for the perfect middle. Okay.
Remind me what a principal part means. I can't remember.
Well, it's an irregular verb.
That's all principal part means
Yeah.
is a regular verb?
It's an irregular verb, right?
Okay, so it has no other grammatical significance besides just a regular verb.
Well, I mean,
Like what it
it'll
says
still, you
principal
still
part.
translate it the same way. Like, as odd as the aorist passive looks, you're still going to translate it in the past tense with a passive voice. So you translate it the same way. It doesn't change the meaning. It's just the way the forms appear. Well, let me give you an example of a really strange one. Okay, if you go to Lego on page 158. Okay, Lego, that's one of our vocabulary words, right? We love Lego, but look how odd it gets,
Wow.
right? Wow. Arrow, iPhone. I mean, you look at that and you're like, if you saw that in the New Testament, you would have no idea that was Lego, right?
Right.
But if you take the time to look these up, then you see iPon, and okay, I think I remember that. I think that might be a principal part, and you go, and sure enough it is. Let me just tell you, iPon is relatively common in the New Testament. You'll see that quite often, iPon. Okay, all right. Okay, so, okay, let's go on to lesson 20. Lesson 20. Okay, now you're going to see what a participle looks like. Okay? remember on lesson 19, we just saw the participles of the IME, okay? Participle form of the IME. Here we're going to see how that fits in other verbs, okay? All right, so let's take a look, or let's go over our vocabulary real quick here. Okay, so zeteo, okay, zeteo, okay, and then arrow, okay. I am saying which is future of Lego. Now that is a principal part, right? That we just saw that, right? Okay. Henna, okay, which is in order that. Henna is a very important particle. You'll run into that a lot. And that is always exegetically significant, so just keep that in mind. Okay, doxa. Doxa, that's glory. Okay, cardia, that's heart. Zoe, life. Okay, ecclesia, it's congregation or church. Okay. Okay, exousia, okay, and that's authority. And then psuche is soul or life. Okay, and then dikaiosune, which is righteousness. Another huge word in the New Testament. Okay. And then may is the negative used with all moods except indicative, often translated no or not. Okay, so if you if anything that's not an indicative, we use the may as a no. May is no. And then notice you've got ook, and ook. Okay? And that's what you would use with the indicative mood. Huh? Yeah.
So this one you just gave us that talks about negating things, that uses the alpha at the beginning of it, is that the same way, or a different way of doing the same thing? Negating, like the staple package you gave us, the first.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
But is that a similar type thing where it's putting something at the beginning of a word so it means not, basically, like deceit without deceit, so deceit, not deceitful, powerful, no power. Like, is this the same kind of thing where if I see this may at the beginning of a word, that it negates the meaning of the word?
No.
Okay.
It would just mean like do not run, or it would be like you should not run.
Okay, so it's used more with the verb, not with the noun.
So you're going to say like with a subjunctive, you should run. Okay, that's the subjunctive, right? You should run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you use a may in front of it, then you would say
You should not run.
You should not run.
Okay, so this is the verb thing on these, and the staple packet's a noun thing.
Right. Yeah. So okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Can
So
you
let's.
explain some of your other little notes you've got there, like under the first ooh, or above that, you've got constant, what is that?
Consonant.
I think that's a consonant. Yeah. I don't remember what that was.
That's the vowel.
I think that was probably 1995, 94, actually 1994 when I wrote those down. So don't even ask me what those are.
That's the vowel.
You could probably figure it out if you just kind of look at it. And,
But with the last one, you've got a note there about rough breathing, so that's actually hook.
no,
No?
no, I'm not sure why that's there. Don't ask me what those little notes are. I have no clue. Okay, let's talk.
I have to get my kids from youth group.
Oh, okay. All right. Look this up, okay? Read lesson 20, okay? Lesson 20 is really important, okay? Okay, so let's talk building slots on the participle. As far as the participle is concerned, there are over 575 separate possible forms for each word if one were to learn them by rote memory, okay? The participle, however, may be mastered by use of the same building slot system as the finite verb. Using this system, it is best to study the participle by means of the various voices. The chart on the next page summarizes these slots. Okay, on page 76, you have this really neat little